In the bustling, restless city streets, where the heavy scent of opportunity hangs in the air and minds seek the ultimate dream of absolute freedom, stands the legacy of a man who boldly defied all imposed limits, Phineas Taylor Barnum. With a profound vision and unwavering, focused determination, Barnum did not just create an entertainment empire, he mastered the high art of manifesting wealth in the physical plane. Today, we will delve deeply into the esoteric secrets behind this legendary success. We are going to elevate his highly practical earthly strategies into the profound spiritual laws of true abundance. Prepare your minds for a fascinating journey into the divine architecture of prosperity, where every single chapter reveals timeless, immutable lessons on the power of the focused mind, the absolute clarity of intention, and the fundamental necessity of believing in your own God-given, infinite potential. In this magnificent universe, it is not difficult at all for an individual who is in true alignment with the infinite to draw forth money. You must understand this clearly, and without reservation the divine mind is the source of all supply. The universe is overflowing with abundance, and there are countless unsaturated callings, innumerable avenues of service ready for those who will dedicate their minds and consciously direct their vital energy. Those who truly desire absolute financial independence need only claim it first in their consciousness, and then adopt the appropriate physical means to see it realized on the material plane. But here is the great paradox of the human condition, as simple as it is to attract wealth through the law of mental equivalent. The hardest thing for the unawakened mind is to keep it. The path to lasting wealth simply consists of spending less energy and less capital than you draw in. This is the profound spiritual principle of conservation. True economy is widely and tragically misunderstood. It is not the mean, fearful, contractive hoarding of candle ends and pennies. That behavior is rooted in a poverty consciousness, a deep-seated belief in lack that actually repels the very wealth you seek. True economy, rather, is the masterful orchestration of your resources. It is ensuring your energetic and financial output is always outmatched by your income, creating a permanent state of surplus. Do not fall into the insidious trap of false economy. There are people who sincerely believe they are practicing economy by saving a few fiat dollars on absolute essentials, only to turn around and waste thousands on the vanity of superficial appearances. They clip coupons but hemorrhage capital on status symbols. When you find that at the end of the year you have no surplus, despite a strong flow of income, you must realize that you are leaking life energy. Take, for example, the age-old story of the household that refuses to burn 2 candles to read by in the evening, straining their eyes in the dark to save mere pennies over a year's time. Yet, that same individual will go into town and casually spend exorbitant sums on ribbons, finery, and frivolous attire to impress total strangers. This is a drastically mistaken notion of value. You must track your physical expenses with rigorous honesty. Separate your true, soul-nourishing needs from your ego-driven luxuries. You will quickly discover that the genuine comforts of life, the things that actually sustain your physical vessel and elevate your mind, cost only a fraction of what a focused, aligned mind can manifest. Do not squander your divine supply on things that do not serve your highest good. It is the eyes of others and not our own divine vision that ruin us. It is the persistent, knowing fear of what society, the proverbial Mrs. Grundy, might say that keeps otherwise respectable families perpetually bound to the heavy grindstone of debt and anxiety. In this world we claim to be free, but how many are truly free when their spending is dictated by the perceived judgments and expectations of their neighbors? Do not let jealousy, envy, or the desperate desire to maintain outward appearances dictate your material choices. Buying a luxury carriage, a larger house, or designer garments simply to prove you are equal to your neighbor is a profound betrayal of your own inner worth. You are already whole and complete. You have absolutely nothing to prove to the world of illusion. If you attempt to match the superficial displays of others, you will force your family into a state of quiet desperation, maintaining a shiny facade while the foundation quietly rots away. Instead, you must be a law unto yourself. Regulate your outings, your lifestyle, and your expenses according to your own inner guidance and your actual mathematical income. Turn your back on the relentless, hypnotic consumerism of the sleeping masses. Accumulate your capital with deliberate intention. As we navigate these times of macroeconomic shifting, inflation, and the inevitable de-dollarization of the global economy, your surplus fiat must be converted into something real. Build a solid, unshakable foundation by moving your energy into immutable, tangible assets, perhaps those governed by the historic, God-given gold to silver ratio. When you finally step out of the ego's endless race and begin this practice of constant, quiet, deliberate accumulation of true value, you will be surprised at the deep spiritual satisfaction and unshakable peace that floods your life. You are no longer a victim of the world's shifting tides, you are the sovereign architect of your own divine estate. Welcome back, seekers of true abundance, to the continuation of our journey. The foundation of all sustained success in the material world is good health. It is the literal physical substrate of wealth. You cannot effectively channel the infinite power of the universe, nor can you maintain the high vibrational frequency required for continuous manifestation when your physical vessel is compromised or polluted. A person cannot accumulate a lasting fortune when their life force is drained by illness or toxic habits. They lose their ambition, their divine incentive, and their strength. To navigate the complex architecture of wealth, you must possess a crystal, clear brain. How many golden opportunities have been lost forever because a mind was clouded by alcohol or artificial stimulants? The use of unnatural narcotics, whether it is the dulling effect of excessive drink or the habitual consumption of tobacco, is a direct violation of natural law. These earthly habits create a dense, artificial appetite that forcibly overrides your divine instincts. They act as a static interference against the voice of your intuition. Consider the energetic cost. When you narcotize your palate and your mind, you are actively dulling your ability to perceive reality. If you wish to perceive the subtle, shifting tides of macroeconomic trends, if you are to understand the precise moments to move your capital into sound, immutable assets, your mind must remain an unclouded mirror for the infinite. You must see clearly that 2 and 2 make 4, without the distortion of chemical lethargy. When you violate the laws of nature, the transgression always brings its own punishment, a lowering of your frequency, and a corresponding loss of financial and spiritual power. Purify your temple, and watch how quickly your outer world reflects that newfound clarity. Do not confuse your calling. The safest, most powerful, and ultimately most successful plan for anyone stepping onto the path of wealth is to choose the vocation that perfectly aligns with their natural, God-given genius. Unless a man devotes himself to the vocation intended for him by the divine mind, the one that naturally ignites his passion and utilizes his specific genius, he will work reluctantly. He will experience constant energetic friction. Working against your own nature burns capital and exhausts your spirit. But when you step into your divine design, work ceases to be labor and becomes a joyous expression of your soul. Furthermore, once you discover this calling, you must place yourself in the correct energetic grid. You may have the genius to run the grandest enterprise in the world, but if you isolate yourself from the flow of commerce and human interaction, your talents will wither. Find your true place, step into your God-given role, and position yourself exactly where the demand for your unique spiritual and physical output can flow freely and unhindered. If you wish to maintain a high state of manifestation, you must avoid consumer debt at all costs. In the spiritual realm, debt is the physical out-picturing of a deep-seated belief in lack. It is a position of absolute energetic slavery. When you go into debt for temporary comforts, luxuries, or clothing, you are literally mortgaging your future life force to satisfy a fleeting ego desire in the present moment. A man in debt is constantly working for a dead horse. He sacrifices his self-esteem, groaning and toiling to pay for something he has already consumed. His creditor's interest accumulates against him while he sleeps. This is the dark side of universal law, negative compounding. Money, as it is often said, is an excellent servant, but a terrible, merciless master. When you allow interest to accumulate against you, it keeps you bound in the lowest frequencies of fear and survival. But observe what happens when you flip the polarity of this force. When you refuse the bondage of debt and instead let your accumulated capital work for you, you engage one of the most powerful universal laws in existence, the law of multiplication, known in the financial world as compound interest. To truly understand the exponential multiplying power of the universe when correctly harnessed, we look to the mathematical certainty of the compound interest formula. Even the strict Puritans of old understood this divine principle. They would rest on the Sabbath, perfectly adhering to their spiritual laws, yet they awoke on Monday morning wealthier than they were on Saturday night. Why? Because their capital, placed at interest, was faithfully working for them the entire time. This is the ultimate goal of the wealth builder, to shift from trading physical hours for fiat currency to deploying your capital into sound, tangible assets that harness the universal law of multiplication, granting you total sovereignty over your time and your destiny.